There we go. All right.
All right. Well, we're back once again. We got Miss Sheree, we got Mr. Charles, two, at this point, I guess, very successful dispatchers and, people in the freight industry. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for everybody coming back and allowing us to do a part two. People were really excited about part one, so we decided we'd run it back. So how's everybody doing today?
Great.
Great. What's up?
Yes.
Well, one of the reasons we wanted to bring you back, Ms. Sheree, because Mother's Day is right around the corner. And, we wanted to really highlight women in this industry. Because like you said last time, this is kind of a male-dominated sport.
Okay.
So as a mother and a woman, what do you think about this industry and why would a woman want to do it?
Well, for me, like it's no limit. Like my mom called her no limit soldier. And so for me, the opportunities are endless, and it's no such thing as, you can't do it. If you put your mind to it, you can do anything, as long as you put in the work, understand it, ask questions when you don't, and, be humble and so forth, and networking with the right people and gathering information, then yeah, it could be for a woman and, anybody else.
Okay. So I know last time we talked about some of the stuff that you were doing. You got the warehouses going, you
Right.
truck washing. So, so what would you say was the thing that sparked you to say, okay, there's a whole bunch of ways I can get money using this transportation industry?
Right. So, by looking back, like, even me from my beginning to get to where I am now, like, I started off, I was homeless. And to be, at this level, even speaking with you guys about, like to say that I got 2 warehouses is a huge mountain. But with that being said, that was never pure favor. And so for me, it was like getting out here, just looking at as a whole, what's all entitled or what's entailed with this trucking industry. And it's, the opportunities are endless is what I started. So what I did, I just start, writing stuff down, as a checkoff list, like how do I obtain this? What information I need? What type of licenses do I need to get started in this industry? And start networking and reaching out to people that will actually, give some information and use that as a roadmap to get me where I'm at today and so forth. So like I said, I put together a vision board of what I want to do and how I want to go about doing it, associating some teams and getting their input on it and laying it out and so forth. So, that has worked for me as far as like laying out things ahead of time so we can get like a sense of what we need to do, how much it's going to cost, where's this equipment is going to come, who's going to manage it for me, those type of things and so forth.
Okay. And now you say you went from being homeless to now how many people you got working for you?
Right now, as a matter of fact, I just did an interview with some people that reached out to me from the last video. I have 5 mentees that I've got on my mentor program. So right now that I have working for me, I'm at 17.
Oh, wow. And how many dispatchers do you have?
I have 9 dispatchers and I'm probably about to hire 2 more right now.
So you went from being homeless to employing 17 people. Amen.
Right.
Hallelujah.
Yes, I know, like, not say stuff, but yeah, I started my off first with an unemployment check, and that's no cap. And that's been some years ago, and I just didn't look back. So I took $125 and filed my LLC out of my unemployment check. Here in Georgia, the unemployment system was called Oliver, and I knew it hands down. And but it didn't stop me. And so for there, I reached out, got a mentor then and haven't looked back. And so to get to hear some, 10, 15 years later to say that, makes me feel good. And, I ain't got to be bragging or anything like that. You just remain humble and stand fast on the word, manifesting on that, speaking it into existence, so forth. So that's what I did. I spoke into existence, and now we're here today. And my existence coming back and forth now because people coming in.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
Right. Yes. With all favor.
Amen. God is good. So how did you find out about Charles? Like when you watching YouTube, did you know somebody who knew him?
No, just out there looking, And I kept seeing, these videos come up and so forth. Like me, I just stopped, and one night I watched several of them, to the wee hours, and I was like, that's it. I'm gonna go with Charles. And the next morning I went in and looked it up and was trying to get on and see all what was in there, and then paid for it. And here we are now, a year later, because that was back in like March last year, hindsight. And for me, like I said again, it was I had that information in my hand, dissected it, ripped it apart. I wanted to know, and took it, and I didn't look back. Maybe about a month, I got my first carrier, and then I kept on going. I started looking at dedicated lanes and so forth like that, and trying to learn how that worked versus it's always on the load board per se, and just going directly to the top hitters. They're not on the load board, so I learned that quickly, and therefore for me it was take that, and like I said again, I haven't looked back.
So one thing you keep saying, well, two things you keep saying, but one of them is networking. You keep talking about networking. So, like, what do? Do you cold call people? Do you go to events? Like, what you recommend somebody just getting started do?
Right. See, I don't meet no stranger. I talk to anybody. And I would look for different events that had something pertaining to what I was looking for, was directly, indirectly. Getting out here, talking to other people, not necessarily on social media at the time, but just talking to people, like I see a truck driver or somebody got a headset on, I'd be like, hey, what you do, what are you doing type thing. And people will, go in and start telling you what they do. And I just like, okay, well, how did you get started? What did you do? And that kind of conversation, and building that rapport with people, like some things that I don't know, this person might need it. So you give that information without, looking for something in return and so forth like that. And, that's how I say networking is key. You can't just hold it and think you're going to move on by yourself. You're not. It took me a while to even get an assistant, because this is your baby, this is your business. But ultimately, like, you got to have somebody in your corner that help you. And then you have a well-oiled machine that will actually, come of this if you work it right and so forth.
So would you say you were able to meet people, that were other students and other people in the group when you joined Charles's program?
Right. Yes, I definitely, that first night, I was already looking in the chat and so forth like that. And while it's going on, I was direct messaging several people. And I forget the young lady's name. My book is over here, but I made sure I wrote her name down because she was always there. I've got her name, but yeah, I reached out to several people and we connected, from that, talking like, hey, what you doing? What you got going on? Some of these people that just got out of prison and so forth, and, telling their story. And I was telling my story, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna network and partner up, and we got some meetings set up going forward. Like on certain days we could talk about it, go through the information that we got from Charles and work it that way. And we would come back and say, okay, well, this what happened when I talked to this broker. This happened when I talked to this person. You start kind of getting it. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about this question to ask this person and so forth. So that makes you better when you start practicing more and not just throwing that book aside. And I just had a person do that. I'm like, how did you get your carrier and how long did it take? Well, I haven't got one. I'm like, well, what are you doing? If you spending your money and so forth. And I asked a few questions like, okay, if you've been dispatching, well, tell me your zones. They didn't know their zones. Tell me the peak season. They didn't know the peak season. Well, tell me how you manipulate the load board since you're doing all these things. They had no clue to that. So to me, it's like, okay, you need to study your craft before you come out here talking about you gonna dispatch a tricycle, let alone a truck. You got to know your stuff. Because it'll eat your mind, this is cutthroat. So you got to know your stuff, and that's what I did first, again. And then, you got to have that gift for gab sometimes too,
Well, and you got to have a wonderful spirit, which you definitely had.
Right, got to.
Yeah, your heart got to be pure because, people go see through BS.
Yep, they will real quick, like, and will spit it back out to you. And then also too, even with the, it's lonely at this time because again, some people think you change, but I haven't. And so even with the hate that comes along with what you're doing, I stand on it because the more you pour hate towards my way or not, giving information, that's pushing me on forward. So I don't, when people be like, nah, I can't tell you this, it's gonna call X, Y, D. And I'm like, you know what? Neither worry, I'll see you at the top. It may take me a little while when I get there, but but yeah, it's come with the territory.
Well, the kids say if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
Right. Exactly. And I'm like, what they say, make your haters your motivators. And I'm standing on a molehill.
That sounds good to me.
Right.
So when you look to hire when you look to hire dispatchers, what are you looking for?
Right. So for me, is that overall aspect of it. Basically, I want to know if you know your stuff, your equipment. What can it hold? What can't hold? What lanes are more prone to have this type of equipment going through it and so forth like that. Can you tell me what a skateboard is? A lot of people like, what are you talking about? I'm like, skateboard, that's flatbed. Some stuff like that, people don't know truckers' language. They don't know that type of information. And then when I say, well, let's go to this load board, and I turn it over to them and I give them an example, and it's kind of fidgety, like, you've been doing this for a while, that kind of lets me know, like, maybe not per se. So for me, I want to know if like, how many zones is it? What are these drivers, working on? Like, how do you handle a 53-foot truck? What's on a reefer? What can you do with it? Those type of questions I'm asking, that detail type stuff. And so when you do get out here and I put you out here, you representing my name. And I don't need that foolery. So I'm gonna train you, like, from my aspect of it, to vet these drivers and so forth. Like that.
So is a lot of that stuff they need to know included in Charles's program?
Yes. The more you know, the more you're gonna grow. This, what you have from Charles is that precursor that sets you up for nothing but greatness. And you add on to that, everybody's not gonna tell you everything. And so therefore you need to go out here and start learning on your own. Just don't let somebody say, here you go type thing. Go out there and search the information out for yourself. Get your own Bible version of truckers' language or equipment types and what it can do, and get your own map and spread it out and see what it can do. What's running in this lane? Where the steel coming from? What the stuff like that. And you start getting that in your head as to how you can address your carriers, right? You might not can send this person over to power only to this area because it's not popping, or it's not paying. So you need to know that, right?
Okay. So now, people watching this video, I want you to understand. Tell these people how you doing right now, because you're talking about a whole lot of work. But tell them what the fruit of that labor really look like.
The fruit of this labor is hard work. Yeah, you might can see some of these like sleepless nights, because I'm always thinking about, like, okay, got to do this and got to do this, make it better. Like for me, I'm never complacent. Never. I'm always critiquing the stuff that I've done or even yesterday. I'm always critiquing it, to make it better. And that makes a better person, so forth. You don't never sleep on it and think you got it comfortable. And I never think I know everything. I'm always constantly learning, reading what's the trends going on, what's happening in Congress, what's going on with these truckers, what's going on with, these things they putting on, these truckers that's nefarious, that's hurting, our bottom lines. And that keeps me abreast of what's going on. So when truckers over here talking about, I ain't going this way because X, Y, Z, let's see how we can handle that. And those things you need to know. You asking about, like, when last time you had that truck DOT, oh, damn, I don't know all about that. They didn't have a clue or reminders, some things like that,
Amen. So now you got 2 buildings, 17 employees, and you're about to start truck washing.
Right. Yep. That's another thing I wanted to bring in, because, like where I'm at, and you got to keep those trucks clean, right? You want them clean. And so the facility that I got will allow the trucks to actually be, come in, so they won't be outside. So when they pull that truck out, that truck is shining, they're ready to roll, providing all that. So these are things that I'm putting in and building upon and so forth, as we go to, make this warehouse, what it wants to be. And these are stages that I'm trying to bring on and get into the cars and all of that too. So it might like a one-stop shop. So if they need a DOT physical, I have that there. I have people on my staff that does that comes in and does it. They need a staff. They need some other type of counseling and so forth like that. They need a nutritionist. We have that on staff. So I want to be like, you just come in. It's not just like, oh, I want to use the bathroom, take a, plop, and here it is, but with a full house to offer them when they do come in, other services wash your clothes, those type of things. Hell, if you just want to sit down and talk to somebody, that.
So, and you built all that as a woman in this industry.
Right. And this is me thinking a whole, putting myself in the shoes and being out there. And another thing people need to do, get in a truck with a driver if you know them. Get out there and see what they're doing so you can understand their plight when they might be saying, this is some BS and this is highway from hell. Or I'm dealing with this dispatcher that won't call me back. They don't pick up the phone. They don't ghost me. All kinds of things like that, for whatever reason. Every day is not going to be peaches and roses and so forth. So I hear a lot about that. So my dispatchers, we have those come to Jesus meetings as to what you're dealing with and how we can approach it.
So at this time last year, you wasn't doing dispatching at all?
Nope, didn't have a clue. This time last year, like February, March, I didn't know what that was. I couldn't tell you. And like I said, I'm married to a truck driver. And, he's doing his own thing, been in for a minute. I was like, you know what, you could be doing this for your own self. And he was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to figure it out so we can, get this in-house and we don't have to be worried about that stuff. And that's when I went online and I started looking at it and reading about it and so forth. And then that's when Charles' information came up. Like I said again, he knew his stuff, hands down, and it made it, you can understand, it was relatable. He went, I put it like this, so I went selling it. You kind of understand what I'm saying? It didn't come out as a sales pitch. Like you ain't got to sell nothing. You got to tell try to prove something to somebody, make some money, like that.
Yeah, so he felt like family.
Yeah, it was more like this laid back, this is it, let's go. Right? Not all this drummed up stuff and not this flashiness, you know what I'm saying? That we don't need none of that. Do you see it? I'm like, I care less about that. But my bank account class, but the rest of all that stuff like that, you can care less.
Amen.
Right. So that's how it came across like that. Like just be yourself. It don't need all of that at all. So that's why I looked at it and I looked at the comments, I looked at the negative, the positive. You take some things with a grain of salt because his way might not be for you. It's gonna be for somebody else. It's only like that. And you take it, for what it's worth, but not be going out here saying I didn't get nothing from that. You lying to yourself.
Exactly. So have you hired any of your family?
No, I don't deal with family.
So it's just you and your husband, and you're able to hire people
My
from
husband
the outside.
and so forth. Sometimes your family can be your worst enemy. And dealing with that to that level. And I know how I am. I'm an ABC type person, 1, 2, 3. I don't have time for BS. And family would take your kindness for a weakness. And I'm like, we got the roll. And that's how it works. So there's some other things they may do for me in my other companies, but for this trucking industry, no, I kind of steer away from that, because I ain't got time to deal with all of that and so forth, hindsight. Yeah. But
so Miss Sheree is about her business.
Yeah, Sheree about the business. That's how you get there. You have to be, you got to have a line in the sand at some point to separate business from family. And I don't want to get that caught up. I love my family too much to the point where I don't want to never see them again. So I separate that.
So would it be at Mother's, was Mother's Day coming up real soon?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, we really want mothers to see opportunities other than these, jobs that they overworked or underpaid in. Right. So if it was one thing you had to tell a woman, who had a family about dispatching, what would it be?
Be open-minded. Know that this is not no 9-to-5 type job. There are going to be ups and downs with this particular industry. Days where you're going to be like, you know what, this just ain't for me. And then just the moment you say that again, it'll turn it around and so forth. Like you just have to go in with an open mind. You have to be able to sit and listen. Listen to your drivers, listen to your husbands, listen to your wives and so forth like that. And don't have a rebuttal to everything. You can learn some things if you humble yourself at times and so forth. So I know that's me, is to humble. My husband is the head. And I just step back and listen to what he says. And then, we put that into play and speaking into existence and so forth. And I tell my staff that too, like we're family and we got families to worry about, so I can't be always saying, like we got to hear you on it there. I'm very open-minded. So my dispatcher can say, well, I can only work 2 days. Okay, them the 2 days you got, no problem. I can only work 3 days, no problem. right? And I'm all about that family. That family come first for anything, and then everything else fall into place. But you got to keep that open mind to know that there's gonna be some bad days and good days. And then when you got a good helpmate, like I take my hats off to like Charles' wife, you're being shared with the world, just like I am. My husband shares me with the world with hundreds of people. And so forth. And oftentimes they may be males. I'm in a male-dominated field, always have been, and so forth. But I know what's what,
Amen.
know how to separate it and stuff like that.
Yeah. So would you recommend the program to anybody else?
Sure. Yeah, well, yes. We can do it, as they say. And you hear the analogy all the time. I'm like, if I can do it, you can. It is true. Again, but some people say, well, that ain't for me. Okay, dispatcher might not, but what else can you do? Okay, can you go over here and get some blackout papers? Can you do that type of work? Can you make sure they up on their tags, they IPTAs, all that? Hold your brain down. What else can you bring to it? Can you help them start their own company? It's up.
So you learning more than just the load board when you work with Charles.
Right. So when I see what Charles do over there looking at, I'm like, okay, now let me see over here. I can manipulate this and get a better return on when I'm looking for some freight or some loads. Or if I'm just want to go directly to the top 10, I ain't paying, they ain't gonna be on load board no way. So I'm gonna go directly to them.
So there are actually brokers out there or shippers out there that aren't on the load boards, but they'll work with you?
Exactly. I got right now, one of my dispatchers out here on these flatbeds, dedicated lanes. And I said, hey, yeah, exactly. So it's to the point where, and that comes with time, working with people. And some people, like, I'm not out there big, but some people get to know your name a little bit, like, Miss Orange Trucking Lady. And I don't care how much social media you got, but this mouthpiece, that's king. And it carries weight. So if you're out here, screwing people over, mistreating them, doing all kind of crazy stuff. The world is big, but it's small, and it'll come back.
Amen.
So I keep it like that. No, I'm not trying to cut throat. I'm not trying to go behind no other person, take their client, which people do all the time. I don't do none of that stuff. And that makes a big difference. Karma is a mofo. It don't take a long time. So it's a bitch. I'm just gonna say it. But so me, I just keep it like that, keep it open, even kill. And you don't have to worry about all this stuff because it's gonna come. Like they say, it's more than enough for you to be stabbing and cutting people off or, acting a fool and so forth like that, because you don't want that, right? You want to be treated the same way that you're putting it out.
Right.
Come back.
Well, I got one more question because I know you got to go. So it sounds like what you've been saying is that it get greater later. So the more you do this, the more you do it, the better it becomes, the easier it becomes. You start picking up dedicated lanes. So,
yep. And you can stick your chest out because you feel confident. Like you got this in the bag. You don't even worry about calling nobody. You be like, you need me per se. And then that confidence gets you built up because I see it all the time. People like, is it working for you? Is it working for you? Everybody's different and so forth. So again, just don't get disturbed. Keep on going. For every nay, it's gonna be a yay at some point. I don't know if that's 1 week, 2 months, 3 months, or a year. You just have to keep on going and get out there, get out your comfort zone. People are comfortable. This ain't the comfort zone. If you shy and timid, you ain't gonna make it. You got to get out there, open up your mouth, and you never know. Just ask some questions.
But if you do good business and you bold.
Right. That's right. And stand on it. Know your stuff. And that's it. And you ain't got nothing to worry about. Okay. And then they'll like, okay, next thing you know, let's go and get this contract going. All right. I see you at the bank. That's it. Everything else is in between. I don't need no matter all this, what problems you have, and I don't need to hear none of that. Just tell me what we about to do, and let's keep it pushing.
Well, it seems like people on social media looking for you, and you said 5 people that reached out to you so far.
Yep.
So when people watch this one, how do they find you?
So if they want to talk to me, and I gave my number out, and even the people that called, they was scared, like I wasn't gonna talk to them. They thought I wasn't real. And so forth. Or they thought like, do they think I'm going to ask you for some money? I'm like, well, even if you did, I wouldn't give it to you. I'm going to give you something more valuable than money. I'm going to give you this game. Then that comes with that, right? So, but yeah, if they want to reach out to me, and this, like I said, I got 6 cell phones with two numbers to them. So if I might answer some of them, or my assistants might answer. So the number is 706-741-8986. And yes, I am a real person. Okay.
With a
And
real
it covers,
business.
but a real business. Like they say, if you Google me again, you see all mine in Secretary of State. I own 15 of them. Okay. So, and
Amen.
that's coming from an unemployment check. So, yep.
From unemployment to multimillionaire.
Yep, exactly. And sharing that that knowledge, because I wish I had somebody back there with, really like, gravitate to. But a lot of this has been just like on my own. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, you know what? When I get here, tell it, share it, somebody else, and I asking for all this money all the time. It doesn't cost for that. You'll be surprised at like how much stuff you'll get back from that. And look where I'm at. This is just sharing it, not charging all this stuff. And I find myself laughing. I can go to scriptures. I wrote this stuff out years ago, and now it's like a checkoff list. I can laugh at some of that stuff I was worrying about. And I'll tell people, just don't be selfish. Right? Don't be selfish at all. It's not about you. It's about we and us.
So sow some good seed and some good harvest to come from it.
It will, definitely. It will come back. You might not see it in money. Don't worry about that. Just worry about like, man, okay, so-and-so came back and said, you know what? I got it, Miss C. That's all I need to hear. Like my favorite number is 4. Somebody bought me an egg with some chocolate candy, and I was happiest with anybody. Right?
Amen.
So people like that. Yep. And quick before we end, I talked to Charles about this, and I don't know if he's kind of looked in it. I'm in a position where I said I wanted to offer maybe like 4 scholarships to pay, like some money towards somebody who want to get into one of his classes. And
yeah, can I speak to that?
Yes.
Yeah, so Don, Sheree and I had a conversation, and she wants to offer, like, we can say the Sheree Carreker Scholarship Program. We can even name it after her, where she gives $100. There's four people that she can give $100. I think it's $100 off towards my training, my ongoing training. $100 scholarship. So we just got to decide who gets the scholarship. That comes later, but she's making the pledge to offer scholarship for 4 people, $100 off. We can title it for her in her name.
Well, we'll figure out how to get it to the people.
Right.
I mean, and this is a great time. Is Mother's Day month, and Mama's got to bring home the bacon and put it in the pan and keep the light.
And as a matter of fact, let's market it and pledge it for Mother's Day for mothers who are interested in joining. Let's go for the. And sorry guys, it's Mother's Day, so it's that time. But let's target it for the
I'll do some for the fathers too. Now I'm not opposed to that. I've lost most of my parents. So my mom died on September the 17th, and 4 is a dear number to me. And you guys probably don't see my new logo behind me, but it's the hummingbird. Is my favorite bird and so forth. So that's why we said, Charles, we can do it, in remembrance of my mom, and that was that 4.
Well, we'll name
okay,
the scholarship.
So email me your mom's name. It'll be the scholarship in your mom's name.
Okay.
And then on Mother's Day, and if you want to do Father's Day, it could be your father's name. And I'm assuming it's 4 and 4. 4 and 4.
4.
Okay.
And so also too with that, it will be before that will get that. I'll also mentor them for 1 year. So they'll be part of the mentoring program for a whole year, and that's no cost.
Amen.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure you're successful.
Right. Okay.
Y'all about to make me cry. See?
Right.
So you went from homeless.
Yes.
To giving away scholarships and making a way for somebody else.
Right. Yes. And that's been a little, 15 years. My son is 19 now. So me and my son was homeless.
Amen.
So there's no excuse. There's no excuse for you guys. There's no excuse. If you're listening to this, there's no excuse. No excuse.
125. $125.
I was going to title this video from 125 to multimillionaire. So
from homeless.
From homeless. Yeah. So I think it's a title for a video. Yeah.
Yep.
Look at what God will do.
That's what we should call it. Won't he do it?
Yeah, won't he do it? He will. You believe on it, man. If I could show y'all your picture when I did it, my hair was sticking straight on my head. My son snapped the picture. I say, we gonna do it, baby. I'm gonna step out here on faith. And that's what I did. And that's a huge sacrifice to give part of your unemployment check, and you be like, what a light water, but look at me now, and we made it.
So
Amen.
I'm so thankful, me personally, thankful and grateful that I was one pebble, one stone in the
Yes.
whole progression of your success.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
and I was a
Mhm.
part of that, just, you know, a microcosm of that. So
Right.
I'm just grateful for that.
Yep.
And for people at home, that's why you got to be ethical. You know, I mean, for people starting businesses, that's why you got to be ethical, because you never
Right.
know what a person's last dollar spent on your program, spent with your business. You never know. You could
No.
be taking somebody last.
That's
Right.
it. Yep.
Right.
You know,
And you
so
show
I'm
right
glad.
about that.
Yeah. So I'm glad
So-
that you invested in Charles and that he was honorable and ethical, and he gave you everything that you needed to be successful. You know, because
Right.
again, you
Yep.
in a place, a vulnerable place financially, so you can't
Right.
just give somebody your money and they don't
Money.
give you nothing in return.
In return, exactly. And I've seen like that investment done, you know, I ain't thought in this because I don't made that, you know, 100 times fold. Hindsight now to say that and so forth, and to be in a position to say, get some scholarship. I mean, that made me feel good just to say that, you know, it may not be a whole lot, but it's something, you know, to help some people out. And that's the only thing you probably need. And I want to share this with you guys. Before my dad died as a little girl, my dad always told me, "Buck, I want you to keep you 2 nickels in your pocket and you would never be broke." And I was like, well, they ain't never done that time, daddy. But he always kept saying, "Buck, keep your 2 nickels in your pocket and you would never be broke." And as I got older, I started to realize and understand what my dad was trying to instill in me. And it's more prevalent now that somebody ain't got a dime today that you do. And that might be the only 2 nickels that you got, but you ain't broke. And I
Wow.
always keep 2 nickels in my pocket and I ain't never broke.
Never broke. Wow. Wow. So I know you got to go. So Sheree Carreker, thank you for your time. Sadan, thank you for your time.
God bless you.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
God bless
Much
all of
success
us.
to you. Yes, so we're gonna put that scholarship information out and get it all.
Okay.
And this is gonna be on the YouTube channel. I'm sure your phone's getting ready to blow up. So
Right. All right. I tell my sister, because that's the one who's handling and putting those schedules in. And that number again is 706-741-8986. So be patient with us when you do call, but she is working those schedules to getting stuff in and so forth, like hindsight. It might take me a week or two to get you on the schedule, but you know, we are, and I am a real person. So don't be afraid to call, okay?
yeah.
Amen.
All right. Thank you
It has
very
been a
much.
pleasure.
Thank you for
All
your
right.
time.
All right. Thank you guys. All right. Be good. And
All right,
y'all be
guys.
safe.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right.
All right. Bye, you guys.
All
Bye.
right.